Right, my beloved Madridistas, welcome back to Madrid. Welcome back to the channel. Okay, this is just going to be a very short video tonight. I just want to give you guys my thoughts ahead of the Rayo Vallecano match, what I think the lineup could look like. A couple of very quick words on Rudiger and his contract renegotiations, and we'll talk about the Camp Nou, which they're trying to sort of open partially. But just kind of a funny anecdote there. Okay, it's going to be a short video, like I say. By the way, spectacular day in Madrid today. I went for a walk with my woman to the old part of town. Just absolutely beautiful. For those of you that haven't been to Madrid, you really should. It's a spectacular city, and it's never been in better shape. It's just a great place. But anyway, okay, let me give you guys my thoughts on the Rayo match at Rudiger and the Camp Nou. Thanks for joining me. As always, let's get started. Right, Madridistas, welcome back. Okay, first things first, I just want to talk about the Rudiger situation because his contract is up next year, and so they've already started negotiating with the club in terms of a possible extension. Now, I have to say, Rudiger, I think his contribution since he arrived has been spectacular. It's really unfortunate that he's injured. I think his contribution has been absolutely critical in very, very important matches. I think he's a player that brings, he's not just a very, very solid defender, but I think brings a great attitude, a lot of grit. He's just a very powerful player, and I think it's contagious. I think he's the kind of player that I think has a very positive effect, especially on the younger players in the squad. Rudiger plays with so much heart, so much grit. So I would certainly like to see him stay for another year or two. Now the issue, Rudiger is 32 years old, and you guys know that Real Madrid has a policy that beyond the age of 30, Real Madrid only gives 1-year contracts that are sort of revised every year, can be extended, 1 year at a time. But after the age of 30, they don't do a contract, multi-year contracts, which I think makes a lot of sense because players after the age of 30, players' condition can sort of dramatically change. Their performance can change. So, committing more than 1 year, I think, is a very, sensible thing to do. I think the players accept it as well. Now, look, he is getting offers from Saudi Arabia. That money is, of course, very tantalizing, and there's a chance that he might accept it. I think it would be a very understandable way to finish his career, I think, and to monetize what he's accomplished. I would love to see him stay, but it really comes down to whether Antonio is willing to sign for, on a 1-year basis, on a rolling 1-year basis, if he would be willing to accept that. Otherwise, there's of course the possibility that he could leave. And like I say, there's a lot of money in Saudi trying to get him over. But anyway, that is taking place, and I certainly hope the negotiations work out. Another kind of funny anecdote, and we don't spend too much time on this channel talking about Barca, but I mean sometimes you kind of have to. And so look, when they they had an auction to sort of get a contract to refurbish the Camp Nou, and I've mentioned this in a previous video. And I got into a bit of trouble. Somebody got very upset with me because I was suggesting, of the companies that were bidding for this contract, they were all kind of in a range, sort of, I guess 5 to 10%. They were kind of similar numbers. But then there was one bid that was way, way, way below everybody else. And it was a Turkish company called Limak. And, this one person in my comment section was, kind of got upset that maybe I was suggesting, look, I don't know anything about Limak. I'm sure it's a wonderful company, and I'm sure they've done incredible work. The only thing I'm saying is that their bid was very, very far below the other bids, and that's the one that Barca went with. Now, look, the Barca has a technical team that analyzed all the different proposals, and it was a team comprised of architects, engineers, and financial experts. This is a $1.12 billion contract. It's a very, very big contract. But they would, this team of experts would sort of score the different proposals, and Limak was actually, received the lowest technical score. It was below 50 50 out of 100. And yet, despite that, they went ahead and they went ahead with Limac. And part of the rationale was that, they claimed that they could finish it more quickly than anybody else. And they were proposing a partial opening, an operational opening for November 2024. Now, we're already a year past that date, so they're running well behind schedule. There's been all sorts of issues with labor contracts and labor violations. They've already been fined over 2 million euros just in violation of sort of labor laws here. There's been all sorts of kind of noise about that. But it's kind of funny because they partially opened it today, and they're already having kind of problems. There were some areas where the seats actually fell off. Like, they literally, I guess they weren't screwed in properly or glued in properly or something. They also have these like very, very small screens under the amphitheaters, but the screens look so small. How is anybody supposed to see anything there? And, in the Bernabeu, to give you guys an example, I sit in an area called Tribuna. Tribuna is under the first amphitheater shelf. So, you have the shelf over you, and they have TV screens, so you can see replays and stuff, but they're very big. I mean, you can see really well. The ones in the Camp Nou just look absolutely tiny. So I look, there are a lot of issues. It's very hard to know when the stadium will actually be ready to be open properly. I doubt very much that it'll be in this calendar year. But again, when you accept the lowest possible bid for a contract of this magnitude, you don't be surprised if there are complications. And again, this is not a personal criticism of Limac. I know nothing about Limac. I'm sure it's a wonderful company, but it was by far the lowest bid, and I think normally you associate that with potential problems. By the way, one more thing to mention with regards to Barça is that there was a New York Times article talking about the debt situation of the club, which is now, if you add the sort of short-term debt, long-term debt, and all the other sort of financing vehicles, they have a debt of 2.5 billion euros, 2.45 billion euros. This is an absolutely enormous debt, and I just do not know how this club continues to get refinanced. I don't know who the institutions are that are happy to continue lending, but I think the financial situation of the club is pretty alarming. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that. Okay, look, in terms of the match against Rayo, for those of you that don't know Madrid very well, Vallecas is a part of town that is sort of very working class. Rayo Vallecano is a very kind of working class club, but I have a soft spot in my heart for them. They're a club that has a lot of pride, a lot of tradition. They play with a lot of heart. They have a lot of character and a lot of courage and identity, and it's a club that I don't know. I like them. I like them a lot, and they always play with a huge amount of intensity, especially at home. And look, the difference in quality between their squad and ours is of course astronomical, and the financial realities of the two clubs are just sort of night and day. But all of that said, this is a club that makes your life difficult at times, especially at home, because like I say, they come out, they play with a lot of intensity, a lot of pride in front of their home crowd, and you just have to be prepared for that because they're going to come out and play at 100%. Look, in terms of my lineup, I think that now that Tchouaméni is injured, I think that Fede is going to come back to the middle of the pitch. This is sort of what I'm expecting. Okay, Courtois in goal. I think Carreras will be left back. I think the center backs will be Huesa and Militao. And then in the right back position, I think Trent will start. Now I could be wrong. Xavi, has been surprising us all year. He's not an easy guy to predict, but I think that Trent will start as right back. That will push Fede into the middle of the pitch, and I expect the midfield to be Fede, Arda Güler, and Jude Bellingham playing a little bit further up. Up front, I think it'll be Vini on the left, Kylian in the middle, and I think we're going to see Brahim on the right. We know that Mastantuono is injured. We know that Rodrigo is available, but has been, very inconsistent in terms of his contribution, to say the least. I think Brahim is a good option. I don't know why I have a feeling that he'll come out. Of course, I could be wrong, and you could see Rodrigo. I mean, I could be wrong, and you could see a 4-4-2. I doubt it. I think against Rayo will come out with a 4-3-3, and I think that Brahim will be the player that he chooses to play up front on the right. It's just a gut feeling. Like I say, Xavi can obviously surprise us, but there are a lot of things that we really want to see from. I think we're all so disappointed after the Liverpool performance. There are a lot of things that we really want to see tomorrow, just to kind of ease our anxiety, because we can't. This season we're just not quite getting to where we need to be. It feels like we're winning. I think a great start to the season. Technically, we've only lost one match in La Liga, one match in the Champions League, so it's not. We shouldn't be that worried, but somehow I think we are. Just because something feels a little bit unconvincing still. I think what we want to see in this match is very, very quick ball circulation. We want to see a much faster defensive transition. I think when the other team counters, I think that we get caught off guard quite easily. I think we need a much faster defensive transition. I think that we have to do a much better job in aerial balls and set pieces. This has historically always been a weakness for Real Madrid, but I think it's very pronounced this season. I think we need to do a much better job there, and I'm going to be looking out for that. Every corner kick, every set piece, and every aerial ball, I need to see a lot of improvement relative to what we saw in Anfield. We also need to have a more a more balanced attack. One of the things I mentioned in my previous video was the fact that we're always attacking on the left, and we're just not really very threatening on the right. That is something that needs to change. So if Rodrigo or Brahim come in on the right, we really need to alter our attack. We can't keep insisting on the left-hand side. We need to find a lot more balance. So look, I just think, and also another thing I would mention is that we need a higher conversion rate. And I get the feeling this season, and I've mentioned it before, that I think we create a lot of opportunities, but we don't. We're not scoring as many goals as we should, and it's something that kind of baffles me because of the quality of the players we have. I mean, the players that we have are absolutely top shelf, and they should be finishing these plays. So we really need to see a much better conversion rate in terms of scoring. But anyway, I'll be watching that match tomorrow afternoon. I'll give you guys my thoughts. Either tomorrow night or the day after. But we absolutely must win this match, and I think not only win it. I think that we need to win it convincingly, and we need to be more emphatic. I mean, we need to win convincingly. We need to score a lot of goals, and get the taste out of our mouth from that defeat in Anfield, which I think is still bugging the shit out of all of us. Okay, listen, those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comment section. Like I say, I'll be back and give you my thoughts in the post-match analysis. But short video, as I mentioned. Thanks for joining me as always. Love you guys, and as always and forever, a la Madrid.